Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. As always, I'm delighted to be joined by my colleague, my friend Elliot Grigg, as we are previewing the weekend's action with boxing action from this weekend. It's all UK based. We're going to take you through three fights in three separate videos, so be sure to check out the rest of the other fights that we've looking at on the channel. This fight, we are at one of the most famous venues in the UK, famous York Hall on a Friday night. And before I say any more, Elliot Grigg, please take it away, my friend.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I think as you're exactly correct. Of a short call, summertime could be a sweat box, but we don't know because the British weather is not currently showing itself as too warm. But we are indeed WBO Inter-Continental Super Bantamweight action between Dennis Mccann and Ionut Baluta. Now, I suppose really to be honest, before I come to you, Paul, obviously prediction, we'll do a quick tail of the tape as we always like to do here. I think Dennis Mccann is as a kind of rising star, I suppose, in British boxing has been for some time. 14-0 record with 8 KOs, still only 22. Southpaw fighter, 5'7". Looking at his record, I suppose you'd say the most credible victories on there really. He's got victory over James Beach Jr., take TKO victory in the 8th round, same in the 8th round, TKO victory over Joe Ham. But really, there's been quite a lot of, I suppose, hype around Dennis McCann for some time, especially in that stable, and seeing how far he can go potentially in that division. This, to me, is a credible fight, credible opponent. Baluta is 29 years old, so the older man, 5'10" with a 73-inch reach. He's got a record of 16-4 with 3 KOs. Paul and I have discussed Baluta previously. We discussed him on this channel when we were talking about Liam Davis fight, which was a credible fight. We lost that, UD to Davis. Has got victories though over Brad Foster. Comes into this fight with a split decision victory over Andrew Kane. Andrew Kane obviously undefeated at that point. That was the WBC International Silver Super Bantamweight title. Other names on his record, he's got a majority decision loss to Conlan. Obviously very credible. Conlan, a world level operator, even though he's not necessarily got over the line there with that world title belt yet, but I do consider him to be a world level operator. He's got a victory over TJ Dehenny. That was in Dubai. That was an 8th round UD victory. So really, to be honest, I'm going to come to you, Paul, with a prediction in a minute, but I think we have to sort of hold our hands up here and say that this is a credible step up for Dennis McCann, frankly. We were surprised. I think we both backed Baluta to beat Davis. Which to be honest with you, is not anything worth criticising. But yeah, so the question I want to ask you really are: do you agree with me that essentially that this is McCann's toughest test to date? Can I have a prediction, please, on how you see the fight going? McCann, if you think he's going to win similarly as well, do you think it'll be KO? Do you think it'll be points? Can I please have your summary, Paul?
Yeah, mate, thanks for that eloquent breakdown first and foremost. And I completely concur with what you're saying. This is a step up, most definitely. You mentioned there a few of Baluta's fights, obviously. If you look at his last 6 fights, right? He's a win over David Oliver Joyce, TJ Dehaney. Then he obviously lost, as you mentioned, the majority decision to Conlan, which is credible, and he made it a horrible night's work for Conlan. It was far from easy for Conlan that night. A win over Brad Foster, obviously a former British champion. Then he lost by pretty wide UD to Liam Davis. And as you correctly alluded to, we both maybe thought that at that stage, that it was a big step up for Liam Davis, as it was. But Liam Davis has obviously gone on the show since then that he's a serious operator with that win over Jason Cunningham and things like that. And then obviously he had that split decision win last time over to Andrew Kane. So Baluta, you don't want to doubt Baluta, but at the same time, this is a massive step up for Dennis McCann for me. As you mentioned, he's coming in off 2 good wins over James Beach Jr. and Joe Ham. But I think that this is definitely another step up in the right direction, and fair play to McCann. And people probably are screaming out for him to go a little bit faster and rise up the rankings a little bit quicker than he actually is. But he is only 22 years old. You know what I mean? He's a baby, really. Um, but I don't really know. I think that I don't can make it really awkward when he wants to, and I think he could potentially make it awkward. He's obviously a little bit bigger than McCann, I think. Which looking judging by box recs, he's 3.5 inches taller, which I struggled to believe because I always imagined that Dennis McCann's a very big super bantamweight. So we'll see on Fight Night, I suppose. Um, and long story short, I think Dennis McCann will rise to the occasion. To be quite honest, I think he's a potential world champion in the future, years down the line. I like what I see so far from McCann. He hasn't really set a foot wrong. 8 KOs in his 14 wins. Could see it being another here. maybe, but I'm actually edging towards a decision here. I think that with this, we could need the judges' scorecards here. I don't see Baluta getting stopped, to be honest, by Dennis McCann. But yeah, a credible fight, a credible opponent for McCann, and a big step up. But yeah, I ultimately see Dennis McCann coming out on top here, and I'm edging towards points. How do you see this one going?
Well, we're 1 for 1, baby. I think I totally agree with you. I think McCann points. If it's going to be a victory for McCann, like you said, I think Baluta's not. It's just not got a very obviously high KO percentage on his record. Don't see him stopping McCann, but equally himself has never been stopped. Do I see McCann doing that? 8 out of 14, potentially no. I think it'll be a McCann points. But before we go, I want to bounce another question to you, Paul, because obviously there has been talk between McCann potentially fighting Liam Davis. Obviously, Liam Davis now has sort of British Super Bantam, European Super Bantam, WBC, WBO International Champion as well. If that fight were to happen next, say McCann comes through this Baluta, convincing wide victory, which let's have a very early prediction, Paul. How do you see that one playing out?
Oh, what are you doing to me here? Why are you doing this? Gonna make me look like a right dick now. Um, uh, I think it all depends on how McCann looks here. If he does win on points and looks pretty good doing it, I would probably edge McCann against Liam Davis. But ultimately, at the same time, I wouldn't be 100% confident in that pick because Liam Davis has kind of risen to the occasion every single time he's fought in recent fights. So I wouldn't say maybe not a pick him. I'd probably slightly edge McCann and think that he would probably be a slight favourite there. But who knows? If it was in Telford, everyone would be going crazy for Liam Davis, and he could maybe pull it off. I'm not too sure, but I'm not going to let you put that question on me without you giving your prediction. So how would you see that one going?
You see, Paul, that is one of the reasons why you are one of the smoothest operators on the white collar boxing circuit in Northern Ireland. See how you slipped that one there, said it depends on how McCann looks, and then also threw it back to me with a counter. I think I would go slightly towards Davis at this stage, but to be honest with you, like you said, I'm not confident in that prediction. And again, it would also, as you so wisely said, depends on how McCann goes here as well. But I would lean potentially towards Davis, but I do think McCann will win on points. That's our first fight, Paul. Please take us out.
Yeah, thanks very much, mate. Enjoyed that. Obviously, two other fights we're going to be previewing this weekend. Another on the Your Call show, and also one on Saturday night in Birmingham. But yeah, that's one of the first three fights. Be sure to check out the rest of the channel, guys. Loads of interviews with fighters coming up as well. Big fight breakdowns, betting tips, you name it, we've got it on the channel. So be sure to check it out. And Elliot, thanks very much again, and enjoyed that. Speak to you soon.
Again, thank you, Paul, and again, thank you very much, guys, for watching.